Welcome to the Good Roads Podcast, and welcome to your bulletin breakdown for March 16th, 2026. You know the rules. We have three interesting topics that are pertinent and important to municipalities. We've got 5 minutes for each topic and 5 minutes for our contributors to discuss them. Let's meet our contributors, Mr. Thomas Barakat and Andrew Blackburn. Gentlemen, how's it going today?
It's going well, Jared. Can't complain. It's we're getting closer and closer to the conference, which means more work for Andrew and I, but we love it, and we're happy to get it over with.
Yep, plugging away. All the pieces coming into place. It's like a little bit of satisfaction when you see, like, the gaps in the program fill up.
Have it all kind of come together. Yeah,
with great and exciting things.
It's true. It's almost like this is like our canvas, and we're filling it. We're painting our masterpiece on it with interesting speakers, topics, and study tours. So just
putting out the finishing touches.
Speaking of study tours, the death knells of winter are happening. We're getting a little bit of cold right now, but it's going out with a whimper, and hopefully we have some good weather for those biking study tours this year.
Yeah, at the very least, we hope that the Sunday, March 29th, will be sunny. Double-digit temperatures would be ideal. No precipitation.
In the positives, not the negatives.
Yes, exactly. It's going to be positive.
We want to specify that, weather gods.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 10-day forecast. So that's the 20. So that reaches into the 20s. I have 3. So let's in the week after that 10-day forecast, let's hope it climbs up a little bit.
There we go. We're looking for some good weather for the conference. And with that, we're going to dive right into our 3 interesting topics. We're going to start out with topic number 1. We're going to dive right in. Eastern Ontario residents versus high-speed rail. Gentlemen, are we ready?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's put 5 minutes on the clock. Ready or not, here we go.
All right, I'll get started on this one, Jared. So yeah, essentially, so as everyone knows, Canada, the federal government, is pursuing one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects in its history. I would say it's one of the most, a high-speed rail corridor from Toronto to Quebec City, which we hope will hit speeds of up to 300 kilometers an hour. It's called Alto. It's being led by that Crown Corporation. The promise is enormous: $24.5 billion in economic activity, tens of thousands of jobs, and 43 million annual passengers by 2084. I can honestly say this is something I am really, really excited about. Someone who likes to travel to Europe and use their train systems. And then I come back to Canada following one of those trips. And I can tell you it's a huge, huge disparity between our train networks and Canada's essentially over-reliance on flying and driving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what we want to talk about today essentially is, these tracks have to go somewhere, and someone's backyard is going to get disrupted. So in rural Eastern Ontario, there's some residents who are pushing back kind of hard. This proposed corridor is 60 meters wide and fully fenced. And so there's kind of like there'll be this permanent division through some of the maybe farmland and forest area. So there's concerns out in Eastern Ontario about, forest land expropriation, environmental sensitivity around the Frontenac Arch, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Cataraqui watershed. I hope I said that right.
Cataraqui.
Sorry, say it again.
Cataraqui?
Well, there's an I at the end, not an E, but Cataraqui? I don't know. You might be right, Jared. You have more Eastern Ontario credentials than I do, so I'll let you be the expert on that. And then, just like local farming and community cohesion is at risk, is what some of these, critics or opponents are saying. And then there's also this interesting case with the city of Kingston. The city officials actually support a southern route, but only if Kingston gets a station. So they're basically saying, we'll support it, but only if we get a station.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting. If you look at the map, like Kingston won't be getting a station. Like it's like the southern route goes close to Kingston, but the routes that they're actually looking at, it goes north of Kingston. So, I mean,
to me, that's kind of crazy. I think Kingston should definitely have a stop.
Yeah, but it's like, do you have two routes then? Do you go further? Is this a half measure?
Or do they change the route? Like maybe this is part of the consultation, right? Because Alto held these community forums all over the province for the past couple of months, and maybe that's what they're hearing. Like, why isn't Kingston getting a station?
Well, does that mean that Peterborough doesn't get a station? Does it go up and then down and then around? And these are actually really, really important questions, because we've had many examples in the past of high-speed rail projects collapsing because they either change the route too many times, they add too many stops, they it goes to committee, and it just keeps on either being whittled down or scaled up. This is what happened in the UK. It was kind of interesting. Like UK is a big gap in the we'll say European high-speed rail systems. It's mostly just traditional rail there, and then there's the California example, which is still ongoing, and that's become a complete boondoggle just because they have just whittled down the nature of this thing. So I think we have all these examples that Alto needs to take into consideration when they're going through these plans. But I mean, when just going back to the farmers whose concerns is, there's no infrastructure project in that could be proposed that is not going to involve landowners and business owners in some way. Happened 413, and it's going to happen with the Ontario line going through Toronto. It's like people will be affected by construction. The farming equipment, I think, is a valid concern, but that's why we're having these conversations where the people on the ground can let Alto know.
Yeah, and the other thing is it's this. It's not like this is unique to Canada. Like Europe went through this decades ago. In the 60s when they were building their network.
Japan is another big choice. Is like we always think of Japan as the original, that was the first high speed rail between Tokyo and Osaka, and they had the exact same conversations that we're having, especially with rural people. It's like it's gonna cut the country in half. It's going to ruin views. It's going to do all sorts of things, and now they can't live without it. That's the dream.
Yeah.
All right. And we'll leave it right there. That's some good points about high-speed rail. It's going to be a little bit of growing pains, but I'm sure we'll get there. All right. Moving on to our next topic. We're back into potholes. This one's called Just Call It the Pothole Slayer. Very ominous, gentlemen. 5 minutes on the clock, and we're going in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Well, this is what we like to do at Good Roads. We're talking about the big projects, which is going to be a big topic at our the Good Roads conference. We have sort of like an unofficial theme, getting big projects done. So we got HSR, which is the big project, but we will never forget about the humble pothole, the humble pothole fixer. So how do you make it less humble? Technology. We were reading some stories in the past week about this this machine that's been making the news in the States called the Simline. I think it's Simline P5 Dura Patcher, and I got to pause right there. We got to change this name. I say I think you got to call it something like the Potholetron 3000, something like that.
Is there Simline? I thought maybe it was like Italian, it's Cimline or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know where it goes because I know the truck is in Isuzu, but I don't know where this Simline. I don't know if they're American or anyway.
I think they're from Minnesota. Actually, I just looked them up.
Okay, yeah. So this is a pothole filling truck that can repair potholes in just minutes. So I think this one case example is from Amarillo, Texas, where the crews are fixing upwards of almost 150 potholes per day, whereas your average John Henry manual version of doing it is only fixing 20. So that's like a huge factor on a day.
That's 7 times their productivity.
Yeah, exactly. So it's permanent stuff. It's like this isn't temporary patch jobs that they have to fix later. The way that it's been designed is these are supposed to be like permanent solutions. I think there has been some talk online that it's not perfect. It's like sometimes you get little humps. Maybe the technology is still in process. We need to figure out a way to flatten it out. But I mean, that's definitely a lot better than having the pothole itself, unless you happen to be that woman in India we were hearing about.
Oh, let's before we move on to that, let's finish this discussion, because that is a really interesting story.
Yeah. We're just going to get into the pitfall of this truck is that it costs $300,000.
So that's what I was going to mention. It's like, well, if this is such a good thing, why isn't every municipality doing it? Yeah. Well, it gets $300,000, which is a significant kind of capital investments, but if your city or town is spending tens of thousands of hours on pothole repair annually, and we're expecting to actually get more freeze thaw with climate change and kind of warming temperatures, so maybe having something like this would save money in the long run, or maybe potentially neighboring municipalities could kind of pool resources to buy something like this.
This won't be following any Buy Ontario rules, though. So hopefully they can get their paperwork together for the exemption.
Well, I don't know that this. So technically, I don't know if this would fall under Buy Ontario, because that was for light duty.
Okay, so this is separate. Okay,
it doesn't capture specific like types of vehicles that are needed for specific like jobs. Like those are kind of exempt from that.
That
was more like trucks and whatnot.
Sounds like a perfect example for import then.
Yeah. I mean, it's from Minnesota, and I'm assuming Minnesota knows a thing or two about cold climate. So I'm assuming this would work in a Canadian winter, or a Canadian spring, I should say, because that's mostly when we really start to see those terrible potholes. But it's like, I guess like there's just some things to consider is like, what's the ROI timeline for a municipality that would want to do this? And what happens to those workers or members who, will they lose their jobs to something like this? We don't like to see that, obviously, but maybe there's other jobs that they can be doing that right now are being neglected because, they're patching potholes.
No, it's a valid concern, because these we didn't mention this. These trucks are operated by one person. Like they're not like a big. You're definitely reducing your manpower on these things, but I'm sure there's a lot more that we can deploy these people to do for sure. In the grand scheme of things. But back to our lighter side, I alluded to there was this one woman in India who was declared brain dead. I was reading the commentary online. Is like, oh, maybe she wasn't actually brain dead, obviously, but they were following all of the tests, the standard tests for figuring out if a woman is brain dead. And then they had discharged her from the hospital to, they were taking her away to, let nature take its course. Hit a very large pothole. And apparently she woke up. Very interested in the
I know I shouldn't be laughing at this, but it's just.
No, I know. I mean, this is the latest.
It sounds like something you'd see in like a movie or something. Yeah. Like
it must have been like that fall, like it kickstarted something in the deepest recess of her brain, and you ever that thing where you're falling asleep and you jerk awake because
I hate when that happens.
Your body thinks that it's about to die or something like that. So maybe it was something related to that.
Yeah. So that's I guess that's the case for leaving potholes. Maybe we should just leave a bunch of potholes around like hospitals, just see what happens.
As life-saving measures, car destroying life-saving measures.
We'll wrap it up there. Before we wrap it up, since we are talking about potholes, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Good Roads /MTO reduced load period calculator on our website. That'll help you with your freeze thaw and when to implement those reduced loads periods. So check that out, goodroads.ca.
Yeah. Good plug, Jared.
Yeah.
There we go. Anyway, let's move it on to our final story of the day. When the beat drops, so does road safety. And I'm not exactly sure where that's going, but let's hear from you, gentlemen. We're going to start the clock at 5 minutes in 3, 2, 1, go.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Jared. Yeah, this one was interesting, and we always like to have interesting stories in the bulletin because so many of them are so bland and just kind of routine stuff. But this one's an interesting one. So researchers wanted. I saw this study basically, right, and researchers wanted to measure real world kind of smartphone distraction without self-reported data because they know that people usually, unless maybe lie is a strong word, but maybe they're not fully telling the truth because they're kind of embarrassed to tell people that they are just distracted driving. So they had this clever solution, which was to use major album release dates as a kind of an experiment point. So basically, when a huge album drops, I'm talking like huge, like a Taylor Swift album or something like that, streaming spikes immediately as fans go to listen to it, often on their phones, often while driving. So this is interesting. So the findings of this study, the researchers found that on major album release days, music streaming jumps by nearly 40%. Traffic fatalities rise by approximately 15% on the same days. So it's not the music itself that's the danger, it's the phone interaction. So people searching, queuing, switching tracks, that seems to be what they've determined is happening. And that's what's causing this, maybe not I don't want to say causing, because causation is a very strong thing, as we know. But that's kind of what, maybe there's a correlation there.
Yeah, well, and the study's kind of interesting because it's like, as a former music store employee, that I know that music drops on Friday, but Friday, it's like it's also the last day of the week, and they've accounted for all of these things in the study. It's really only comparisons to other Fridays for the most part. They had a bunch of what they call the placebo Fridays to compare, where there wasn't like a big album drop. So the findings definitely make sense, and it's just like another thing to add to this distracted driving epidemic. But to me, it's like a dual-fold project. It's like distracted driving is always a problem, but it's also the fact that we don't have buttons anymore. Everybody's on their touchscreen. And I'm an old school person. Like, I miss my iPod, the iPod with the physical buttons. You didn't need to look at it to pause the music or go forward because you knew where the buttons were. Now, every single time you want to do anything, you got to go you got to look at it and you got to do like this. And yeah, I know we have like certain automobile functions with like the volume on the steering wheel and stuff like that to help people focus, but this just proves that people have this distraction. I don't know what the ultimate finding is here, but it's one of those things. It's like this sort of reminded me of the story that we had at last year's GRB out of South Korea, where they've had some fantastic progress on reducing crashes. And it's all tied. It's kind of tied to cell phones. They've reduced their vehicle fatalities because people are encouraged to drive safe because they've successfully gamified it. Because everybody's on these navigations apps in Korea. Like one of them is called Team App. There's a couple of these things where it's just like their scores are public. So like the apps are tracking their telemetrics. So they're showing when they're hard braking or missing lights and stuff like that. They're tracking all these things. So it's like all of these things that people do when they're distracted driving. They're like, they're lurching forward and stuff like that. And they've actually successfully reduced it because they they know how good their friends are at driving, and they feel that pressure to do it.
So basically, I guess what you're saying in a way is they've given drivers an incentive to drive safer, and the incentive is almost, I don't want to say it's like shaming, but it's almost like it's
social. It's a social score. Yeah,
it's a social kind of because if you have a low score, I mean, some people just would not care, but in this day and age, especially being online all the time,
people are passionate about their like 5-star Uber passenger ratings.
Yes, I know for a fact.
It's the exact same thing, right? But I feel like we need something like that where it's just like everybody, can pay attention to their driving and everybody knows how good they are and we can see it.
Yeah, maybe you get like lower insurance rates or something if you.
Well, that's how they do it in the States with some of those telemetrics apps. Like I know a lot of the insurance companies actually do use them. To like formulate their scores. So the technology is out there. It's definitely deployed. But I feel like we got to use all the tools as we can to reduce the distracted driving epidemic, because enforcement alone isn't doing it. We got these AI cameras seeing if you're looking down or you're looking up, and it's something hard for police to detect. So we need aids for these kind of things.
It's kind of sad that the threat of fiery death isn't enough to convince somebody to stay off their phone.
Yeah, well,
it's not going to happen to me, Jared. It's going to happen
exactly.
to
The threat of fiery death is just so abstract to those people who are like queuing up the latest Taylor Swift bomb.
Yeah. Anyway, before we move on to our what is fun, I wanted to reach back to the Indian woman who came out of a coma. You were mentioning falling in a dream, and it got me thinking about the movie Inception. So,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that movie, Andrew, but
I've seen
Inception in real life confirmed? ?
Did they hit a pothole in that? I can't remember.
No. They to get out of the dreams. They
it's the falling thing. Yeah. They had them tied to chairs, and they would fall down or something like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's been so long since I've seen that.
And that took them from the bottom level all the way up. So. I thought that was interesting, and
watch that.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to our something fun for this week. I don't know if you guys have anything, but
Jared, I would like to step up here. And it's not fun. It's actually kind of sad, but I think I want to, on behalf of the Good Roads podcast and Good Roads Bulletin team, just want to give our condolences to the family of Wyerton Willie, who passed away early. So I don't know why I'm laughing. He predicted the early spring that we've gotten so far. I think I've hyped him up a couple of times already on the podcast. Jared, maybe potentially you can throw on like a Sarah McLachlan music with a compilation of the past few years of Wyerton Willie, and just we can kind of all mourn his loss together until they appoint a new Wyerton Willie, which I'm not sure if they do that yet. Sorry?
What are we under? Like our 5th, 6th Wyerton Willie now?
I don't remember, but I'm not sure if there's some sort of rat. I'm not sure if there's some sort of Vatican-style white smoke to signify that they've chosen a new Wyerton Willie, but I guess we'll keep an eye on that. And maybe once we find out, we'll report back in a future episode of the podcast. But just wanted to share my
and we will threaten and denigrate that one just as much as we did this one for the lawmakers that predicts.
And it's okay. It's like I know it's sad, but he lived to a ripe age of 13, which is apparently quite old for groundhogs. That's your typical age for a groundhog in captivity. So he lived a life to the fullest until his final days.
So he was. So it's funny. I just typed in Wyerton Willie stats, and apparently it's known for a 29 to 40% accuracy rating since 2000. So I guess that's
29 to 49.
It's 29 to 40.
You know what? We need a new groundhog anyway. This one's not working.
When you're right 40% of the time, you're wrong 60% of the time.
So. Switching gears again. Good riddance.
Apparently, this one was a white albino groundhog, whereas more traditionally, it's a brown groundhog. So this one,
breaking tradition doesn't seem to have done us any favors, I guess.
Yeah. Interesting. Fun fact. I've actually been to Wyerton. I'm not sure if we have any listeners in Wyerton, but I went to Wyerton, and there's actually a Wyerton Willie statue you can go and get a photo with, and you can actually they have like a little area where they have the groundhog, and you can go take a look and if he's awake. But it's a very nice town. I encourage all of our listeners to go and visit Wyerton. It's a nice, very charming place to visit, especially in the summer. So, all right. Yeah, that's my plug, Jared. And I've not been paid by the Wyerton Tourism Association. This is pro bono work.
Let's wrap it up for there. Any Wyerton people out there, leave us a comment.
Wyertonians,
Wyertonians. leave us a comment in the YouTube chat down below. Let Thomas know what you think of the podcast and him going to Wyerton. Maybe we can have him out to Wyerton. We'll do an on location of the Bulletin, Thomas and Wyerton.
Yeah, if we get 10,000 views on this podcast, Jared, I'll wear a Wyerton Willie suit and we'll go to Wyerton.
All right.
We're going to hold you to that. I am going to promo this one like crazy. I would love to see that. All right. Once again, thank you to our contributors. Thank you to our listeners. If you're listening to this on YouTube, leave us a comment, give us a like. We love to hear from you. Definitely respond. Good Roads Conference is coming up. The early bird is over, but you can still get your tickets online and in person at the conference. Be a little bit more, but we'd be happy to have you there. Guelph Road School is coming up. Those courses are filling up surprisingly fast. It is your fast track to a CRS designation from AORS. Not fast track. They are very in-depth courses. I have taken some. And
regular track, I think.
Regular track. That is your way. So take a look at that, goodroads.ca/education. Look into the Guelph Road School track. And I guess until next time, everybody, take it easy.